this critical moment in American history where everyone is still and you can't turn the blind eye. You can't go out and have your diversions to say, okay, well, I don't have to worry about what's going on in that community because me and my community are having fun today. We're doing whatever we enjoy doing. No, you're at home and you're seeing the same types of things that we're seeing and have seen from day to day. Similarly, we have Susie Carmichael and Angelica. And Susie is holding one of my favorite books, and a lot of the reason why they're both holding books I'll get into here, but Susie's holding one of my favorite books, The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. And I chose The Bluest Eye and also James Baldwin's The Fire Next Time very intentionally to be held by Skeeter and Susie because they're great texts on the Black experience for sure, but they really get to the core of a Black feeling. A feeling of what it's like to modify, a feeling of what it's like to continually be oppressed and subjugated, and what it feels like to really just be brimming under your blood and have your blood boiling, be brimming under the soil to know that this is a world that just doesn't invite you in and doesn't include you. And even back to the idea of the bluest eye, without going too deep into it, but it's a concept of a young girl wanting to modify. And Susie, even though Susie was the Black character in the show, she even still had to modify to fit within that world. So we have Susie now with a little bit more of her natural hair. It's not as if her hair wasn't natural in the show, but giving her little edges, giving her some baby hairs and such. And she actually has an Adinkra symbol on her outfit instead of the classic flowers that they had on it originally. But she's holding the bluest eye and giving this to Angelica and saying, listen, you're not hearing my perspective, so let me give it to you a different way. And that's something that I've also been struggling with in general, because you have to basically be a poet laureate to be heard as a Black person in America. You have to be the most eloquent, you have to be grandiloquent, use super large words as I just did, just do so much just to be heard and just to be felt and to have people connect to you. And no matter how you say it, you can say 50 million different ways. It just seems like it falls on deaf ears so often. And when it's said, especially recently, what I've been experiencing is when I've said it in mixed company, and what we know as Black people, mixed company means is a room full of people who aren't exclusively Black. So when you get to this more heterogeneous company and instance, and you say things, often those who are not Black and who don't know how to deal with that feeling or attach to it just fall silent. And it's frustrating, quite honestly. So additionally, you have Skeeter here, who is giving James Baldwin's The Fire Next Time to Doug. And it's just the expressions, again, are so important on all of these characters because they channel feelings that we felt as Black people our entire time here. Every time we try to go and explain something, even to well-meaning allies at times, it creates this instance of, well, when you do hear us, I've said this 15 times the same way, different ways, but you haven't heard it before. And it's frustrating right now in this moment because it's like, okay, well, why didn't you hear me before? What about now is so different? Did you really have to have a global pandemic and sitting still just to understand, again, my humanity mattered? What's going on outside of work is affecting me viscerally every time I walk into work. Every time I enter this space, I carry with me the burden and the woes and tears of my ancestors. And when this injury is reactivated on a constant basis and my community does not receive justice, then it's hard to go and peck away at the keyboard and just sit and act like everything is fine. And again, when my peers who are not Black have the luxury to just exist happily, that's not a luxury we're afforded often because we have to pack down so many feelings. It is traumatizing, and it is a constant state of trauma to be a Black person in America. So your Black friends are tired, and there are a lot of other details within this piece that I would go over, but I think it's important to show what we're tired of. So on the back of the t-shirt, and I'm gonna try to do this casually, and if I happen to have a nip slip, I apologize. I promise this is not me coming in here to be a sexy artist. It is the morning time, so I'm wearing my robe. I will figure out how to be a sexy artist one day though. So what are we tired of as your Black friends? And this is not an exhaustive list, although we are exhausted, of course, but we are tired of police brutality. Tired of code switching and modifying in general? Tired of your silence? Tired of it all? And respectfully, your black friends are tired.